can you take people back to 2020 and you and the stand that you made? And again, I still remember this video of you appealing, to I guess it was the Texas Assembly, where you just said that, I could not understand as a medical professional that no one is trying to ascribe any protocol to deal with this. And you were just almost flabbergasted. And it felt like everybody in that room was nodding their head with you, saying, this guy seems to be making a ton of sense. It was almost like you were calling out the thing that nobody could see, maybe because of all the fear. I was wondering if you could walk us through that and what it was like to be that guy in 2020, because it wasn't easy.
Well, in 2020, I was a full professor of medicine. I was the most published person in my field in history, and I saw this COVID-19 pandemic evolving. And within a few months, I realized that, there was no solution being proposed by Harvard or by Yale.
Hey, I know investing in crypto is scary. It takes a real leap of faith because there are so many scams, rug pulls, and bad actors out there. It's a dangerous business, which is why 95% of people lose all their money. Well, that's why I created the London Real Investment Club, so you can access the hottest deals on the planet and use the crypto bull market to create the generational wealth that you deserve. Join my team of over 100 people from around the world that are making millions of dollars behind the scenes investing in blockchain, AI, Web3 games, DeFi, Bitcoin, and more. Don't miss out. Click the link below to book a call with one of my team now. But hurry, this bull market will end soon.
I know investing crypto can be scary. That's why you gotta join the investment club. Pull the trigger. Let's do this.
Or UCLA or Emory or any of our marquee institutions. And across the world, nothing out of London, Karolinska, you can just go down the list. No academic medical center had an approach. They had no protocol. This was stunning. And people were getting sick at home. There were two bad outcomes: hospitalization and death. And the medical establishment was doing nothing to stop these hospitalizations and deaths. So I put all my efforts into this. Initially, I got large research grants, dedicated my research team to this, developed a national team. We published the first protocol to treat COVID-19, and we published it in August of 2020. That's pretty rapid since it takes months to do all this work. And it became the protocol for the Association of American Physicians and Surgeons. I presented it in the U.S. Senate November of 2020. I mean, I did everything as I possibly could. And fortunately, people were treated, and those who were treated did avoid hospitalization and death. Sadly, those who didn't, they ended up in the hospital or worse. But then as the vaccines rolled out early in 2021, I was called to the Texas Senate, Health and Human Services. That's the video probably you're thinking of. And every presentation, I sat there for hours. Every presentation was about masking and lockdowns and personal protective equipment and vaccines. Not a single one was about treating sick patients. So I appealed to Senator Kulldorff, and I said, where is the interest in treating people sick right now? Why is everybody focused on a vaccine? A vaccine is not treatment. And people who take vaccines, they were still getting COVID, so we have to treat them anyway. And people had this blind spot to treatment. Well, that video, as you point out, that was picked up by Tucker Carlson. Tucker had me on the next couple months, and I sat down and explained this to him. He goes, I can't believe that Harvard, after a year and a half, doesn't know what to do when a sick COVID patient calls. It's all the brain power in Boston. You train there. I mean, I was the endowed visiting professor at Harvard in 2019. I lectured in 2 divisions, cardiology and nephrology. Listen, Boston's got a lot of brain power. Why were they suddenly out of intellectual ammo? They froze, and they could do nothing to help COVID patients. It's astonishing.
Did they freeze? Were they told not to? Or is it just when you're motivated by money, it's easy? What do they say? If a man makes his living from something, it's very hard for him to see any other argument around it. I'm butchering that, but why do you think that was? Or is that a whole nother episode?
Well, listen, I was at Baylor at the time, and I didn't get any emails saying that, hey, don't do anything until we get a vaccine. I think it was paralysis. In fact, I was in a Harvard consortium called Stop COVID. I'll never forget it. David Leaf was the principal investigator. I said, terrific, we're going to stop COVID. What are our projects? And then the group really essentially was just going to observe COVID. They weren't going to stop it at all. UT Southwestern here in Dallas, well known for its Nobel laureates. I attended school here in Southwestern in Dallas. They were on TV because they were modeling. They were modeling how the virus was spreading. Another one of my alumni organizations, University of Washington in Seattle, again, Nobel laureates there, they were modeling. So everybody wanted to look at this. Nobody wanted to do anything. Even my counterpart, Scott Atlas from the Hoover Institute at Stanford, Scott and I were chosen by The Hill, which is the most widely read journal for the House, the Senate, and the White House, to write op-eds every month about the pandemic in 2020. Scott was writing about how, masking and lockdowns, what have you. I was writing about how are we going to treat this to get people through the illness. And so you can tell that and Scott wrote a book. He was ultimately invited in the White House for 9 months with Trump. According to Scott's book, after 9 months of meetings with him and others, and Jay Bhattacharya, who's now at the NIH, they never discussed treating a COVID patient. It was all about masks and lockdowns and just not treating the problem. This is astonishing. Trump got an early version of the McCullough protocol in April of 2020. He got through the infection. It should be celebrated. But yet there's still to this day a blind eye in treatment. No, there was no channel in London that was presenting any updates of what people should do about COVID-19. And yet great literature was developing regarding using nasal sprays and gargles to prevent transmission. They were far more effective than vaccines. The early treatment protocols refined. Even government-issued drugs were not promoted, like Paxlovid and Molnupiravir and Bamlanivimab and all the monoclonal antibodies. They were kind of undermined. The only thing that was presented consistently and strongly was mass vaccination.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside I view is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.